As a sequel to Children Do Not Have a Chance Anymore, this you see the title, My Son is Daddy. And how does this happen? This happens from various forms of misunderstanding, which is pretty much a big thing, or I could say a misunderstanding. Because it's not just a woman thing, it's also a man thing. And I'm going to describe to you in just a moment that a lot of the untrained or unlearned parents and new parents of the new generation do not quite get. I had an emailer in one of the other audio videos that I have given to you, and he asked the question, how come it was difficult for him to get involved in some of these relationships with these new girls, new women around the country. And it's difficult because the older daughter, and specifically the older son, and this is what I'm going to talk about, is the daddy of the house. The mom is usually dependent on him heavily to do the duties in the house, to be the so-called justice or protective agent in the house, and the list goes on. And he ends up becoming the pseudo husband. That's one thing that you need to understand, the pseudo husband. How it happens is, of course, when this young lady or lady isn't able to procure her a decent husband in her world, and therefore she consistently, without knowing, without thinking, without calculating the damages of the future circumference, give this young man unnecessary tasks, or you could say tasks that are better left to the husband or a male companion. And as time goes on, this young male, not only does he grow up too fast, but he has a false sense of reality. I'm going to tell you why. And some of you can relate to this. And there's a reason why. You probably have never, and we probably have never succumbed a 24-year-old president. You ask yourself, why is that? Why is it on the rarity, even though there may be? I haven't did my research on it, but I'm pretty sure it's probably, if ever, 1 out of a million, a 24-year-old CEO or boss of a well-established business or organization, or a 24-year-old elder who is teaching a class, or a 24-year-old teacher who is a male who has a who's able to teach college studies. Okay. Now, we may have those who are well trained by the indoctrination books, but let me tell you this, when it comes to life experience, when it comes to wisdom, when it comes to the knowledge of nature, that takes time, that takes maturity, and it takes having an experience with face-to-face life. Now, I could have called this audio video, how a blue pill simp is made, or his very beginning from stage 1. I could have called it that, but I'm going to let you decide that is going to be the second title as I discuss this measure. Okay? Because it is how you have white knight men, how you will have men who still is interested in marriage, even if they are unfortunate and it doesn't work in their favor, and how you will have men who are always constantly programmed to protect women who do not otherwise deserve protection, and she is at fault. But he becomes the harborer of destruction and chaos. He becomes her protective unit, starting from youth, starting from when she allows this young boy to be the head runner of the home. And like I said, oftentimes it's not just the woman or the wife or the mother. Oftentimes it's also the husband or the boyfriends who leave the house, and they will specifically tell the boy, older boy, our boy, that he's in charge when he leaves. You know, he will initiate and tell this young boy who is inexperienced that he is going to take control as he leaves out of town, or as the dad may go somewhere else or leave in different places. So therefore, the misunderstanding begins. The putting power in the wrong hands begin. Because the authority, this is what I always say, and I want y'all to understand, this is one of the basic reasons why I always tell you men to stay on your square. Because it's your responsibility, it's your task, 24 hours, 7 days a week, to maintain authority in your home and in your castle. Not to relinquish that authority to someone else who is inexperienced as yourself, whether it may be your grown daughter or your grown son, because they're not experienced as you are. And it will, whether you like it or not, cause damage for the future, because they will have a misunderstanding of power and authority that you have allowed them to have too young. All right, get that through your mind. However, getting back to this study, Neo. As a matter of fact, before I forget, let me go ahead and give you this red pill, because we're getting ready to go somewhere here. Now I'm gonna get my red pill. Hold on. Gotta dip this stuff in some water here. All right. Now, that also helped my throat so I can talk better. Here we go. When the woman does wrong, he wouldn't understand that she's doing wrong. He wouldn't understand the schematics of the woman's mind. It would take him time to understand that he is protecting something that is the cause of the catastrophe. That's the cause of the massacre of the household, or of his peace as a young man. And he will only find that through personal experience with his girlfriends or wife, because he's bound to get a wife, he's bound to get a girlfriend, and he's bound to ruin himself because of his lack of experience as a youth. Him being a so-called authority in the home, because he's born and bred to be a protector and a provider too soon without understanding why he's doing it. So the programming begins. This is how he becomes a thorough blue pill beta dude, or you can say boy, or you can say simp, or you can say donkey, however you want to look at it. Okay, he's no good to himself, and he will find that out later on, after he is in divorce court, after child support is taken from him, after he gets dumped by several women and abused, and and he sees the unfortune that is in the current world today. And then, of course, that's when the red pill begins to evolve in his life. And after that, he has to clean up the mess from his failure and mistake. But it's not just him. It's the parents that have put him in that position. It's men like you who do not take proper information to understand how the mind of a child works. That it is not yet pruned for perfection at the age 17, 18, 16, 19, 20, 21, or 22. Oftentimes, as an advisor and a helper, I realize that maturity doesn't really begin to sink into a man's mind or his life until after he begins to reach the age of 26, 27, 28. 32 is when this man is able to talk about prophetic things, or he starts thinking deeper than the common. He starts figuring out life a little bit more, whereas he may have just a little bit of wisdom to guide maybe 2 or 3 different people. All right. But before that time, he's still trying to figure out himself. At the age 24 and younger, 25 or so, on a general basis, there are exceptions to the rules. They may be 10 out of 100 who may escape that low-hanging fruit, or that lack of knowledge and experience. But for the majority of them, they're still trying to figure out themselves in their lives. So therefore, it is dangerous for a child, especially a young man, to try to figure out his life, whereas the programs are pressed on him, and it's forced into him, such as religion and the protectiveness of women. It's forced into him because he feel like it's his obligation as a man. At this time, daddy's telling him to man up because of, mother's telling him what he should and should not do for women and to women. You know, the mother is saying that you need to do this, you need to take out the trash, make something of yourself. The programming begins. And when daddy isn't there for several reasons, because the woman cannot peer bond because of her feminist ideology, or the man isn't there because of whatever reasons that might be, either that or her pushing him out the door, okay, that son is left there unprotected. He's left there with a pre-made failure that is going to unwrap and expand for him during the advancement of his life or during his age development. And therefore he ends up in between two places. This is how you end up finding blue pill beta men who want to be red pill, but they transform to be purple because they see the signs, but they want to fight against it. They see the signs, but they want hope strategy because they're in between the ages 26, 27, and they still want to get married. They still want to have children. They want to find them a good woman or a virtuous woman. And he still believes that they're out there, but he knows that women are no good anymore. He realizes that Morpheus and other red pill providers are telling the truth, but he don't want to believe it. So he'll be the ones to call in and talk about men such as myself and others and say that we are scared of men. He'll say that we have given up. He'll say that someone have broke our heart. He will say that we just don't trust in God to provide us with a good woman. The list goes on. Or we just don't try hard enough, or we don't go online enough, or we don't apply ourselves enough. He will constantly say these things. He will constantly throw these things at us because he has a hope strategy, because he doesn't see what we see. He doesn't know what we know, because he's coming out of the blue pill phase, and he's blue pill. He's blue pill, but he begins to see the reality of it, but he doesn't want to accept it. This is when he transforms to be the Neo sitting down in a chair after he received the red pill from Morpheus. When I give you the red pill, he's standing up in the chair and he's spitting up everywhere. He don't want to believe. And he's yelling at me to take him back to the blue world, to take him back to the Matrix. He don't want the red pill anymore. He's crying out for the blue pill because he don't want to accept reality. It's too much for him. But then eventually, sadly but true, there are so many men like himself who will find out the hard way. And when the deja vu and the glitches come to the Matrix, the only thing that can save him is destruction itself. And should he survive, will be from the luck of the draw, because there are many men who do not survive from realizing they are at a disfranchised and an inconvenience of compassion, love, and the proper ritual of honesty from the opposite sex anymore, especially in the Western civilization. You do not want to meet that path, but it's not his fault because of mommy and daddy have raised him up to be that way. This is the same similarities of the audio I just created for you. If y'all listen to it, it's called Children Do Not Have a Chance. I talked about women in that one. This one's for men. Men have a different task and they have a different struggle that they have to deal with as well, because their logic begins to challenge their emotions. Their logic begins to challenge their hope strategy, because men want women. Men desire women. Men want to be honest, loyal, and committed to their women. But unfortunately, because he hasn't changed that much, she have changed the game. Women have decided to do a different 360 on men here in the westernized civilization, where men who are unaccustomed that it is a different time and a different age end up ran over like an 18-wheeler and will not be able to recover, or they will barely recover at a later age in their later time in their age, and by then they're no good to themselves, because the plan is to use them for all their energy, their life, and their resources, and to discard them. It is no different than the Matrix. I talk about this a lot, and I am glad that I was called Morpheus by my viewers, by people that know me personally. And I am glad that this is my genre. This is my mission. This is my task, to be Morpheus. My task is to bring awareness to the Matrix. My task is to make Neos all over the planet. That way you do not have to succumb the suffering and the misery of the lack of information that is purposely put on your mind, on your spirit, on your health, and on your physical body. That is my genre. And of course, as you know, your machines, what you buy. I talk about those things because I want you to be alive and well. And I want you to help me to fight this machine world. Because when you are free, you can join my team. You join my team, we can break the compassionless world. We can break the broken people. That's right. We can break the cycle of deception. We can break the destruction that is pulling the world down, and specifically the westernized civilization. So this discussion, it expands to multiple subjects. It is the most vast and the most accurate and the most on spot position that I can imagine to put myself in as a mission, because it's exactly what it is. Because we have a cloak, we have a dark cloud, and we have blinders on our eyes. And most of it is produced, it was produced, and is still being produced, and is fighting harder today. And it's called misinformation. It's called deception. It's called distortion. It's called indoctrination. It's called your systems. And it's called just about everywhere that you are around, and in every system, every media, every source that you can get your hands on. Because Agent Smith do not want you to live, but you have to live just about in everything that you do. So therefore, just like chess, the idea of your world is to create those indoctrinated systems to control you as pawns, which will surround you, you being the king, where you have nowhere to move until you are checkmated. You're checkmated when that queen piece takes everything from you, absolves you of your, or so let's say, absorbs you of your prospects and leave you wondering why. Now, I will tell you now, do not get involved if you're in that situation where her son is daddy, because he will not relinquish. He will fight you with his sense of authority and his perception of reality through his inexperience. Now I'm going to go ahead and take this to the next level of our understanding here and overstanding. Since a lot of you are religious and not spiritual, a lot of you are still in the programming, so I have to talk at your level. One of the other big issues is church. And when it was in full flush, or when you was able to sit down in the church wooden chair, that was one of the things that have entrained these men to be soft. It made them soft. It made them passive because they go by a book. They got to go by what people told them. And most times the projected morality that they have received from the religion is based on chivalry. It's based on turning the other cheek. It's based on, yes, it's based on understanding. Yes, it's based on being kind to your neighbor, so forth and so on. But it also teaches these men how to be passive and not direct. How to deal with the measure of their struggle as a spiritual experience and not a logical one. In essence, they struggle because they are taught to be one way through the religious aspirations, but the world is showing them something different. And what the world shows us men is reality, where we ourselves want to neglect that reality through cognitive dissonance. As I have described to you in my other audios, that some of you think is irrelevant. Religion, what you believe, what your perception is about life is utterly important, and it's a detriment to the decisions that you make according to your relationships, not only with people, but with the women that men meet, because you're going to bring your religious aspirations. I was talking to a man just the other day, and we were talking about relationships. Yes, we were discussing The differences between the women now and the women that used to be is like night and day. Okay, it's a totally different dimension, it's a totally different time, and a totally different respect. But thanks be to the goodness of the universe that this man had the ability to listen and learn as to what I was saying. He was open-minded, and he didn't argue with his cognitive dissonance, nor was he closed-minded. If anything, he had more questions because he wanted to know about what I was saying. He was never taught what I know. All this was new to him, and it opened up his world. And then at the same time, he began to explain to me certain situations that he've actually been in realistically, that he had questions about, but didn't have the answers that I was able to give him. And he realized what I was saying was the fact, because his religion itself was contradictory to reality. It's contradictory to what's going on, because they are sitting there in a traditional, outdated relic mindset, outdated and insufficient compared to the new world which is around them, because Agent Smith have encroached. Agent Smith have been setting up his pawn pieces, his bishops and his rooks for many decades, generations now, while the church was sitting there sucking on their thumb. Okay, the whole idea for them to be sitting there waiting for a savior or a messiah or a hero to come and save them out of their misery, okay, was leaving them in a stontified, lower frequency mindset, okay, which caused them to be insignificant to themselves and to the movement of anybody else around them. Okay, so unfortunately, the world continued to move while they were staying headstrong and diligent in their religion, because that's what it is, superstition. Okay. So therefore, he began to ask a question based on his understanding that he was saying things like, let me give you an example, because I know you don't want me to run around the bush with this. He said something like, well, I heard about it's better to marry than to burn, and it's good to have one woman and be honorable to her and be loyal to her, but how am I going to be able to have a woman in this generation? And I want to be able to bear children, and I want to be able to carry myself on to the future with a stable marriage, but that marriage isn't provided for me. But the Bible says when a man finds a good woman, he finds a wife. You know, he started throwing things out there like that. And in return, I said this, and this is what I'll tell you, my listeners. I will say this: the Bible said what? That's what I would say. And they say, well, the Bible said, then I'll stop you right there and say, the Bible said. That's it. That's your answer. The Bible said, or your religion said. SAID. Stop right there. It said. Leave it alone right there. You throw that out of the courtroom right there. You are done for. You're finished and you debunked. Because the further essence of it, the further research is this. Check this out. Is the world shows you in action. The world produces its knowledge. It don't say it, it does it. Reality, do not have to put it in the book. Reality shows you with everything that's around you. Women today are showing you what they are all about. They are showing you through action, through their habits, through social media, okay, through their marches, through their complaints that they have when they falsify, whatever the case is, they are actually showing you. They're not talking about it. While you're sitting there going by what the church said, or the religion said, or what your pastor said. So it puts you in the end game where you lose. These men do not understand this as they grow old. Well, as they grow older, they begin to understand it and learn, because the red pill is everywhere and nature is going to wake them up regardless, but they don't understand when they are a child growing up. Let me give you an experience. And then I'm gonna go ahead and probably put a closing to this audio, because I have more for you. And I want you to think about it for a moment. Okay. As an advisor and a friend, I visited one of my people. It was Well, recently, I would say. And what happened was very interesting. He had to jump in his car and go to the store and purchase some items for his home. Okay. And of course, his wife was there, and she was like, okay, here's Mr. C. There's my kids that you usually teach and you tutor. They're outside playing. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I had some gifts to give them. And she said, can you do me a favor? Can you watch them? Because I'm going to go inside the house and get some things done before my husband gets back, or whatever else the case may be. Because she was a home mom anyway. She took care of all the things. It wasn't anything about her in this conversation. So don't think that what she did was wrong. She didn't do anything wrong. She was just taking her home, doing her normal things. Okay, everything was fine. I'm teaching you something about the young boy, though. Okay. So I approached the kids that were sitting out there. They're kids, my students. Okay, they stopped and, oh, Mr. C, came up to me, gave me a hug and everything. And I'm like, okay. And I had gifts in the car, things like that. And the little girl that I tutor every now and then, because she's older than the little boy. The little boy is around a good 5-6 years old. She's around 8-9 years old, so she's older. She's a lot more cognitive than he is. Of course, the mother wants me to teach the son once he gets a lot older, prep him and things like that. But make a long story short, so let me tell you what happened. So the little girl was eating a Debbie snack, which I would not advise anyway, right? And those are one of the things that the mothers do. They will give their children just about anything they want if it's unhealthy. Okay, I'm not pointing my finger. I'm just telling you that's what y'all do. I see it all the time. Okay, there's a lollipop in her hand, something sweet, something unhealthy. Or if she wants to go in the refrigerator and get a blow pop, she can get it anytime she wants to. Whatever it is, the mom is always okay for it, and she would never put anything healthy in her hands on a general basis. Like, okay, you can eat whatever you want, because I'm not going to deny her, because she's going to be upset, if she don't eat that food either way. And as a physical trainer, of course, I deny that, and I put her on a schedule and things of that nature. The mother, well, you can imagine what she looks like. She wants her daughter to look the same way. Anyway, so she finished the snack, and I'm bending down, right? My hands is on my knees. And I said, so what are you eating there? She said, oh, well, I got this chocolate bar. And I'm like, okay, I said, what are you doing today? Oh, we're just hanging outside, having fun with Barbie dolls or whatever else. And the boys are sitting there just laughing, playing, jumping around, right? So what she did was, I figured I had some things in the car, right? She took the wrapper, right? And she threw it on the ground. And I said, you should pick that up and put that in the trash can. They've been knowing me for quite some time as a teacher and being a part of their family, so I have the authority to say that now. Now they recognize me as the father when the father's gone. Okay, so it's not like I'm stepping in as a complete stranger. Okay, they know Mr. C. Okay, they line up when I come into play. So what she did was surprise me. She usually doesn't act like this, but this is when girls test you. Okay, this is a woman thing. When you hear men talk about how women try to test you to see how far they can go, this is the same thing. They learn that at a very young age. They will see how far they can go just to see what you're going to do, what your reaction is going to be. Okay, and so I said, you need to pick that up. She said, no, I'm not going to. I don't care. And I see the smirk on her face, right? She's just smirking like, yeah, Mr. C ain't gonna do nothing. And she just standing there. You could tell when she's just, really trying to push those buttons, because she'll put her finger in her mouth and she'll bob left and right. Like, I got you now. I ain't doing what you want me to do. So I'm like, I'm only going to tell you a few times. You pick that up off the ground. You throw that away because it's trashy out here. And you need to have the habit of cleaning up after yourself. You shouldn't be eating it anyway. She knew what I was talking about because I told her that before, right? So she still said, no, I'm not going to. Now she really tried to get attitude this time. And I was thinking to myself, oh, you won't play that game, right? And I said, you know what? That's fine. I had some gifts in the car, and I guess I'll just keep it. And she's like, what? No. I said, no, I guess I'll just keep it. I'm not worried about it. See, you want to keep the trash on the ground. You don't want to do what I want you to do, fine. I'm not going to demand you. I'll just talk to your mom about it later on, okay? all right, when your dad get back, I ain't gonna argue with you. You don't have to do it. You know what? I'll just take my stuff right back to the store. I got the receipt for it. You don't need it then. So you don't want to listen. You want to have your way? All right, I'll play the game with you. So I got up, walked over there to a little boy and started asking him questions and playing with him and things like that. And he was looking at the sister. He noticed that I reprimanded her, or that I put her in her place, or that she was in the wrong. So she stopped laughing now. Now it got serious to her. And she had a little pouty face, right? She's looking down. You know how little girls do it. Little girls, little boys, they look down. They know they just been chastised. Okay. I knew specifically as a teacher and doing study in psychology and counseling, doing my studies and dealing with people on an everyday basis, families, so forth and so on. I knew that there was something going on inside the house instead that caused her to have that mentality. Oftentimes, yes, girls do that naturally, but they are promoted even more by the habit of mom or dad allowing them to do whatever they want to do. Of course, because she's eating something that's unhealthy, she's outside playing, joking, and playing around with this nasty Debbie stack that she knows she shouldn't be eating. That's a clear sign as well that her mom was like, oh, I don't care. You eat whatever you want to eat, boom, sort of thing. Because she can get it, she can have it sort of thing. I'm not going to tell her what she can't do unless it applies to me, which is a selfish thing, but they do it all the time. I'm not going to go there in this video, okay? So I knew what was up already. I said, that's an inside type of ordeal that's going to have to be dealt with later on. But I'm just going to nip the surface and tell her if she want to act like that, then she's going to get the negative results. Okay, so the brother's looking at me because he's a little upset, thinking that I said something to her to hurt her, but he don't understand what's going on. He didn't clearly understand what the interaction was. Okay. Then all of a sudden, of course, she walked back in the corner because she was thinking about it for a second. She thought about her behavior. All right. And I spoke up a little louder so she can actually hear me while I was talking to the boy. I told her, I said, listen, I said, if you want to have an attitude like that and you don't want to do what us adults want you to do, okay, then you're not going to be able to have your way. You got to listen to us. All right, where the brother can hear. Remember, this boy is like, 5, 6 years old, something like that. So he don't really understand, but he was able to hear what I was saying. So she walked away. She started pouting just a little bit because she didn't comprehend what I was asking her to do, which was pick up something that was very simple. Okay. Then he started pouting. He said, "You made my sister cry. What's wrong with her? You made my sister cry." I said, listen, boy, you do not know what's going on. Okay. And then I left it at that because I wanted to see what had happened. Okay. I'm trying to figure out this thing and I'm sharing this with you right now. Right. So I get up from him and I walk away and I stand over the trash and say, you need to be picking this up. If you pick this up, you can get what you need. And she was pouting a little bit more. Of course, you men know that women do this too when they older. They do it in a different way, but they pout with attitude. They pout with girls' night out. They'll pout with walking out the house, revealing your goods. Okay, they will not call you in a week from there. Okay, they will not give you any donkey dunking for quite some time because she didn't get her way. Okay, because she don't want you to win, even though you're right. She wants to have her way. That's when you come up with the equality program and the so-called liberation that goes above and beyond, where she begins to destroy things in your home and your kingdom. Okay, should I not go there? Anyway, so then he walks over there to her and he realized that she's acting out and he's just as young as she is. Of course, one child cry, the other one's going to cry, of course, but this is still a different story here. Okay, because now he's upset at me. Now he's thinking, okay, I may be 5, 6 years old, but I'm in protective mode now because you made my sister cry. She's upset now. Now I'm upset because she's upset. I need to deal with you, right? Little boy. So I'm standing there. He walks up to me, right? And he has a pout on his face. He didn't say anything. But when I knelt down to talk to him, I said, "What's wrong?" He said, "You made my sister cry. I'm not happy." Now, some of you, and I know what y'all thinking, "Oh, that's so cute. women, especially y'all, I'm not even gonna go there. I'm trying to be light with this audio. Yo, that's so cute. He's protecting his sister. He feels it. No. There's a lesson to be taught here. I'm talking about blue pill simps that are programmed falsely. Okay. Now, for you people who are already in the graduate level of my lesson, okay, let's continue. Leave those who love to eat dong-dongs and honky-dongs behind. Okay, now check this out. I said, listen. I said, don't be upset because you don't understand so-and-so that she is in trouble because she did wrong. So what I did, I took his hand, I pointed down to the trash. I said, your sister threw this trash on the ground, and I told her to pick it up. Okay? And she don't want to pick it up, so she's in trouble right now because she's holding an attitude, okay? I said, don't be mad. You just don't understand. I know you care for your sister and you want to protect her, but your sister is wrong. Don't protect her when she's wrong. And he started shaking. He shook his head up and I said, okay. Started understanding. But he was in conflict with his emotions, but he began to understand that she did wrong and that he needed to, he did not need to feel emotional and protective over her because she was wrong. She needed to face what she did wrong. All right. And then therefore she began to get up and she picked the trash up. Okay. And she came back out and she said something. Well, where's my toy at? Where, you said you got something for me. You know what I said? I said, okay, I will bring that to you next time because my whole, as a advisor, okay, I got to play that game because I need her to forget so she can learn the lesson all over again, because I don't want to think where there's going to be pros and cons here. If I do this, I'm going to get that. If I do this, yes, she can earn it, which is fine. That's a good psychology to do. Okay, but I need her to only have a habit of doing right because doing right is the thing to do. Not because she's going to get something in return, but she needs to be not obedient, but just listen to elders and people talking to her when she's doing something wrong. Okay, and clean it up or fix it because she's responsible and accountable for it. That's all I need to do. Not because I got some candy for her, not because I got some toys for her or anything like that. You understand? So I said, I'll think about that next week. Next time I will bring it, but I'm not going to give it to you right now. Just next time when I have you do something, you do it and you get to understand that you have to stay clean and you're not doing it for me. You're doing it because of habit, blah, 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 blah. The lessons began from there. Okay. And then after a while, of course, the son was watching, but he calmed himself down because he realized she did something wrong. He didn't have to jump up and be the little white knight. Okay, but what you must understand is this is what happens to little boys. This is what happens to them where they feel like they need to be the blue pill simp all the time, even if the girl is out of control, even if she's disrespecting him in the marriage or relationship, even if he's at a disadvantage. She walks out of the house and she's talking to her ex-boyfriend, the stories. Okay, she's FaceTiming, Facebooking people and doing DMs with his so-called friends. And he don't know anything about it. Why is he sitting at home after a 9-hour shift? Okay, and she's out there cheating on girls' night out, drinking Jägermeister. Okay, because of situations like this. He don't understand that she's wrong and that he needs to act on her wrong, not act on the fact that she's feeling bad or she got in trouble or that she's being reprimanded or she has to deal with her struggle because she created the chaos and the struggle. All right, let's go further because it didn't end here, because as a teacher, I need to thoroughly give you the lesson. All right. As the discovery went on, of course, I dealt with other clients. Several weeks passed, several lessons and whatever else that have happened in my entrepreneurship. So I'll meet up with them again. Okay, just hanging out and enjoying myself and things of that nature. Okay, so I'm there watching them, and the father had to leave to go out to work or something like that. And let's see what happened. So I put them on a regiment to work out and take care of themselves as far as the mother. Get out, do some jogging, take your kids with you. All right. But she said, oh, I need to go check the mail. You know, they're too young to go over here to the mail. Can you watch my kids for me? I had like 10, 15 minutes. I don't mind. I'm the big brother. I'm the stepping father. I don't mind. I love kids. I'll sit there all day. Okay. So she goes to the mail, and I think he was, let's see what happened. Oh, he was trying to go with her, and she said, no, you stay. You got to stay and, take care of the house. That's what she said real fast to the boy. And walk away. I'm like, okay. And I go to the daughter. I said, what does she mean by that he has to take care of the house? She said, well, the daddy said that when he's gone, that my brother is in charge of the house, that my brother watched the house, the 5-6-year-old boy. Right. And I'm thinking, I said, ooh, this is good. This is good material here. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I can really put this in audio video to help my American people learn something differently here. And I'm like, so really? So I said, so the dad said that when he leaves to go to work and he's not at home, that his son is in charge. And she said, yeah, that's what dad said. That's what he said. All right, yeah. And I thought to myself, aha, survey says that's the light switch. Aha, I see. Okay, so in other words, these young kids at this measure and above, okay, and especially even if the dad and mom said, that's why I told you it's not just the mother's fault. It's dudes who are doing this, men who would say, well, 16-year-old boy, you are in charge. You are to watch the house when I leave. Okay, some of you may think it's a good idea. Some of you may think, oh, well, that's not hurtful. He is 16 years old and he is a boy. He needs to learn his responsibilities, yada, 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 so forth and so on. Okay, but what you men don't understand, and some of you women don't understand, he's a 16-year-old boy. Okay, he's not yet wise enough to know the complete ins and out, even though he may pretend to be. He may tell you that he can, and he may portray to be. Okay, but it's like night and day to a 36-year-old man to a 16-year-old boy. Okay, and he is going to be programmed while he is getting this false sense of authority in the home. Okay, that's the way life's supposed to be, because during those ages, when he's 19 and younger, okay, that's when the severe training happens. That's when the programming, that's when Agent Smith begins sticking him with all kinds of syringes, where he would drag everything that you give him and experience with you, okay, into his adulthood when he is past the age of 26 to 30 and to 40. If he reached age 40 meaning when he catches wisdom at the age 32, is when red pills start coming at him from all his directions, and he awakens. 40, he's free. Okay, but before that time, it's self-discovery. All right. Some get it earlier. Now they're getting it earlier in this generation because men are speaking up. Men are aware now. Men are realizing that their little sister wasn't an angel the whole time. They're realizing that they've been protecting Agent Smith to get away with all kind of chaos and catastrophe at a very high advantage rate, while he is constantly being at a disadvantage. Okay, so however, it starts there. So he would never get to the point yet to realize his position is a program position. Oh, you watch the house. You are a protector. You are to provide. You are to do this for women. You are to open up the door for women. You are to read out the red carpet for women. If they say yes, you say yes. If they say no, you say no. You are there to be the flower bearer, and you make the flowers and you give them the flower. You go out there let's say wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Don't come home till 8 o'clock at night after tilling the grass as a farmer, after yielding the grass, after you're out there in your John Deere tractor all day long. You come back while she's sitting there on the couch. Okay, you are to do this for at least 14, 16 years while you marry this girl. Okay, until she gets bored of you and she wants to bait and switch and she leaves you with her false sense of independence and liberty and say she don't need a man or needs you and the labor that you have so exhaustively put in, okay, for the 15 or 16 years of your life as a wasted experience. Okay, wishing that you can start all over again because of that falsehood as a young child, because men need to understand, as well as you women, okay, that it's your task, not the child's task. And too many of them do that. Same as what I just told you in Children Don't Have a Chance. All right. When the girl is too young, 15, 16, and the mom leaves the house, and she'll say, well, watch your younger sister, who's 8 years old or something like that. This 15, 16-year-old girl now takes on the task of mom. Now she's growing up too fast. Now she is thinking that she's a grown girl. Now she takes on the idea that she knows everything, that nobody can tell her anything, and that she's smart, intellectual, and she has the experience of a 90-year-old woman. Okay, she knows it all. Why? Because the mom have decided to delegate her with power that this little girl does not understand yet. So it's more of a self-programming and a de-evolving mindset than it was for some of you to think, well, I'm giving this child some responsibility because I want them to understand responsibility. It's a counteractive measure when you go above and beyond. I can understand, tell them to go get the mail, cut the grass, earn what you get. I can understand small things like that. Okay. Be responsible for, make sure that they don't get ice cream and cookies out of the refrigerator when I go take a shower. Okay, those are small responsibilities. That's small responsibilities. Okay, we understand that. Clean up your room, vacuum the floor, make sure the door is locked when you leave the door. Do your homework at night. Do your homework and you earn, your, what do you call that? Your it's just been a long time since I can't even figure out what it was. When you earn money, okay, when you earn the what is it? That's the tip of my mouth. Okay, Morpheus can't find it. Okay, I'll find it eventually. Anyway, when he earns his money from dad or mom, okay, allowance. There you go. My God, allowance. It's just not. Listen, it's just not in my dictionary anymore, and it's not in my vocabulary because I hate the word allow. The word allow is like a slave type of thing where I am allowing you to do something. I am allowing you to. I'm allowing you to live your life. I'm allowing you to be free, that sort of thing. I'm allowing you to say what needs to be said. I just don't like that word. So I erased it from my vocabulary and my subconsciousness. So it's hard to find it anymore because I don't go by allow. I do what I want to do. Okay. I don't go by, oh, you allow me to be. No, I'm going to do it anyway. And you're not stopping me. Okay, I don't bend my knees for anybody, nor do I take the second seat because I'm red pill alpha dude. I'm the man in the front. So allow is not in my vocabulary. I veto that. I push that to the side. Like, what's that? What the hell's that? Allow what? I'm going to be me, dude. But anyway, getting back to the story and put a closure to this audio. So what you must understand at a large rate, this is actually the foundation and the basis of how blue pill simps are actually created and why they want to fight everyone, alpha red pill men like myself and others who are telling them that they're coveting for a hidden snake. Okay, and then they still want to go out there and have a hope strategy. And, well, God said that there's a woman made for me. There's Adam and Eve. While he's sitting down in church reading from the Bible with his legs crossed. Okay, not understanding that indoctrination is what made him soft. Don't you understand on a large scale, men are made to be leaders and they're made to construct their own path. Men are made to create their own legacy. Men are made to be the ones who chop the wood, the ones who are burly, the ones who go out there and make things happen, not sitting down in some church praying for something to happen with his legs crossed, reading from somebody's book. Okay, if he's reading from any type of book, it's a book of empowerment. It's a book on constructions on how to build his own life. It's a book on how to be better as a man. It's a book that inspires him to be the best that he can ever be, not some book telling him that he's some sinner and some degraded human being that deserves, that needs to be on some type of grace or mercy from an invincible God. His logic will not allow that to happen. His sensibilities will not allow that to happen. And nature and the mathematical equations of historical facts will not ever let that happen either. It's just when you sit in there, you become feminized. And the first thing you think is, oh, women is everything and men are insignificant. Women are better than men and we need to serve him. My task is to work until I die and raise her and praise her as if she's the queen, even if she haven't deserved it. All the while she is putting me at a disadvantage and I get nothing. She gains everything by the state, your country, your laws, your rules, and other blue pill beta guys. Okay. Simps. Okay. Who have no confidence in themselves or confidence in their own sensible logic, because it was never installed, because mommy and daddy is still leaving the house saying, oh, you 8-year-old or you 16-year-old, you have the responsibility of this castle. Although I'm not going to teach you what that responsibility is by example. Therefore, you need to understand, pre-making your child like that so early is a damaging effect, because I gave an example. I see it all the time. Could you imagine? And it happens before, and it does happen around the country. And as a teacher, okay, I've seen it multiple times myself, where those kids aren't just 8 years old and 16. Oftentimes it's going to be a 17-year-old and a 7-year-old child of some age. And the 17-year-old's looking at you with cross eyes saying, you what? You stranger, you this and that. And you're like, wait a minute, kid, you don't know what's going on. You what? You what? You what? And want to get in your face and pump you and chest bump you. Okay, and chest bump you and want to fight you, but have no idea about what they're doing, because they're programmed in that position, because daddy say, you're in charge because I'm not going to be home. And the worst yet, and I'm going to go ahead and close it. The worst yet is when that dad isn't there because the mom don't want him to be there. And the mom transforms that boy to be the new daddy of the house. That's the killer red pill there. That's the study and the measure. That's what becomes the destruction underneath the bridge. Or you can say the troll underneath the bridge that actually distorts the American family of what you see today. Whereas the women cannot find them a husband. They will not find them a husband or a decent companion because they already have one. It's their son. No, it's not considered as donkey dunking with them and laying with them and sleeping with it, all that kind of stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the very fact that they're in the position that men are supposed to be in, that alpha men are supposed to be in, that real men who are of logical guidance and experience and cognitive reality, not dissonance, cognitive reality, are an awareness of their life and themselves supposed to be in, where they are made to be in that position to guide the family and the home in the right direction. But yet that woman say, no, my son's going to be that. I don't want to be in a relationship because I'm only concentrating on my 4 kids, my 3 kids, my 2 kids. Okay. When I'm not at home, they're in charge. So therefore there is no hope. There's no salvation. I'm not going to say hope. Hope is not in my dictionary either. I just say that for your cognitive mindset. Okay. It's expectation. Okay, there's not too many expectations anymore. This is why you have troubles finding a decent, virtuous woman in your environment, in your area, because they have a support system that goes beyond sensibilities. It goes beyond the logic anymore. There's no more, because he's programmed as a child, okay, too soon to be in daddy's position where he's not supposed to be in. He's not supposed to be in that position. He still is a child. He's supposed to be the one that's sitting there studying his studies, his school, working on his career, whatever it is, trying to figure out what he needs to do and leave the house and make a family of his own, or just leave the house and make a life of his own. That's his position in his task. Same as what I said in the other audio. It's the same thing. But because he's being given this responsibility too soon and twisted in a twisted form with 2 forms of bad examples of mom and dad. Okay, his future is destroyed literally and physically, spiritually, okay, and metaphysically right before our faces. And so the rat wheel continues, and these children become your bosses eventually. They become the people that you work with in the masses. They become the ones that you see every single day in the grocery store market, okay, with all the catastrophe and atrocities that you talk about on your YouTube channels and behind closed doors. So you try to say, well, these people had free will to decide their choices. They were just an adult or something like that, and they decided to live the life that is atrocious today. Okay, the unbalanced mentality, the aggressiveness, the drug usage, the heavy alcohol, the domestic violence and things like that. You will be absolutely wrong, because it starts at home. That's where it's they were programmed to be that way because there was a mom who said, I don't need a man. There was a man who said, oh, you know what? You're going to be responsible when I leave the house. Okay, and you thinking, well, it's a positive thing for that child. No, because they don't know everything. And they're going to take that measure of responsibility, authority, and you can say oppressed labor that you have given unto them that belongs to you. Okay, they're going to drag it into their adulthood, and they're not going to figure out how wrong it is until the crossroad comes, until that red pill comes smashing them to the concrete. Okay, by that time, it's domestic violence. By that time, it's a prison sentence or a jail sentence. By that time, it's multiple tickets and the suspension of license. By that time, they're in the rehab. By that time, they lost several women. By that time, they've got several women pregnant, or they were the ones who got pregnant several times themselves as the daughter. Okay, but yeah, we talk about we love our children, but we don't comprehend how serious the rat hole is and how deep it goes. It is severe, and we don't understand that because we're too busy in the new modern day age where anything goes. I'm liberated to do whatever I want. It's my life. It's my life. Well, when you bring a child to your circle, it's no longer your life. Now you're responsible for another life. Get over it. Yes, you can live your life however you see fit, but now you are responsible for this other life that you decide to take up as a responsibility. So should that child be in your grips? Because most of them aren't, because fathers aren't allowed in the family or around the woman. Okay, and there are several few who aren't as far as the woman is concerned. Okay, but the majority of them, it's the woman who was always given the mallet and the responsibility. Okay, so therefore, it's no longer your life. Now you got to consider this young child, okay, as a severe responsibility that you are creating the future through that child's experience. So therefore, it's no good to say, oh, son, you're going to be the dad or the father of the house when I'm gone. That's a bad move. That's a very bad move because you're talking about somebody who's inexperienced. It's no different than you give this. Why do you think that there's certain laws where you can't drink for a certain age to be 21 or something of that nature? You know, there's certain games they can't play. There's certain places they can't go to the club because they're a certain age. You know, even a sexual marketplace, as some people call it, they definitely not allowed there because they're too young. So why would you give them the responsibilities of an adult in any other type of form and say that they are okay to be in your position as an adult and they are a child? So therefore, the blue pill beta is created right there. And then men like myself and others got to deal with them on social media. We got to deal with them in their everyday life. And they the first ones walking down the aisle talking about, oh, this is the woman of my dreams, until 10 years later. And now he wants to come back home to mommy and daddy. I need help. Now I'm paying child support for this baby and she's gone somewhere else. She decided to move to New York City. Oh, I thought she was the woman of your dreams, son. Oh, well, I got the information too late, Dad, because you was too lazy and you didn't understand what the red pill was all about. So you raised me up to be just like you. Useless. Red pill simp. When it's not that anymore. It's not the time of the biblical text anymore. Get over it. This isn't traditional chivalry anymore here in America, the westernized civilization. It is a real hidden civil war between man and woman. Get over it. It's not the traditional days anymore. It's not 1930. This is the 20s, the 2020s. We have gone out of control and we have allowed it to happen because day after day, we have allowed our liberties, okay, and our internal civil rights to be taken from us 1 inch at a time, to the point where we are senseless and mindless. You got to understand that and overstand it. So therefore, in any way, form, or fashion, okay, we can turn this thing around. So you got my other audio and you got this one. Okay, this is why you can't peer bond. This is why you can't get into a relationship with a mother who already got 2 or 3 kids. Okay, especially if those kids are grown up and they allowed their kids to be the authority of the home. You're going to allow the donkey to move the how do you say that? You're going to allow the tail to be the front of the head of the horse? You're going to put the cart before the horse? Seriously? And say, oh, it's normal. It's natural. It's acceptance here in America in the West. This is just what we do. This is the new normal. No, it's the new idiot behavior. That's what it is. And then you're going to worry about having a future. You be the first one talking about, oh, the president ain't doing this. The politicians are liars. Oh, we need to change America. I can't believe this is on the news. But yet you're the first harborer of this nonsense and don't realize that the tools you got is right there at home, sitting on the couch next to you, sucking on a lollipop. Amazing. Amazing. This is Leon C., aka Morpheus, and I am for the empowerment of the future, whether you like it or not. I don't like the Matrix, I hate the Matrix, and I hate the machine, because that's all we are going towards with our computerized, senseless mentality anymore. We need to focus on what we're doing consciously and aware that we are the beginning force that is pushing the nations downhill. In order to stop it, open up your ears and focus on the red pill and the right that people are discussing all over your planet. Of course, like it, share it, and pass it on.